to From the Front Lines, how real estate managers are addressing COVID-19. Our topic today is rent abatement and concessions. I'm here with Mindy Gronbeck, Director of Property Management for Hawkins Companies, and Chip Watts, President of Watts Realty Company. First, what can you both share with us about the type of rental concessions real estate managers are being asked for at this time?
So on our end, as a third-party manager, we're receiving several different requests across the board on rental concessions. Many of those have been either a rent waiver or a rent deferment. In fact, our particular city of Birmingham, Alabama, is recommending to all of its small businesses to talk with their landlords and ask for a rent holiday. I'm not exactly sure what a rent holiday is, but we're looking at either rent waivers or rent deferments at this point in time. We've actually been proactive in going to some of our tenants based on our landlord's requests to see if they actually need a deferment, and to my surprise, we've actually had several tenants that have turned us down. So it seems to be across the board. We've got several tenants in the retail industry are asking for deferments or waivers, and we have had some tenants who are in other industries that are considered essential services that have declined an offer for rent abatement or deferment. Mindy?
Okay. Yeah, sure. So we have about, Chip, I don't know how large your company is, but we have about 4.2 million square feet of commercial properties. And I would say as of this morning, we've received about 25% of our portfolio asking for either a waiver or a deferment of some kind. We have decided as a company that we would offer deferments to the small mom and pops, and certainly not to the retailers that have the large balance sheets, especially those that remain open, which some are. We also have seen more along the lines of not the city stating, but just through social media and whatnot, to make sure to ask for your landlord for help. In our communication back to our tenants, though, we have also given them information for the SBA and other resources that they can go to for maybe low-interest loans. But we have offered deferments to our small mom and pops for 1 month at a time. We're just going to do what we're just doing April for right now.
So we've talked about abatement and some other concessions. What other creative solutions are you finding that you're offering your tenants right now?
We are just trying to give everyone as much information as possible. So as we get new information regarding the stimulus packages that are being one that's been passed, hopefully others that will be passed, we're trying to blanket that out to our email saying, hey, this is where you can get some help. Prior to our state being scheduled or stated as a state of emergency, we actually gave them information to the Idaho Department of Commerce, who they were supposed to start talking with prior to us being listed as state of emergency. And then also other things that we're doing is that we actually have created some Facebook pages for a couple of our larger shopping centers that have lots of restaurants. And we are posting several times a day that they are still open for delivery as well as takeout, and to please support them. And then if they're running any type of specials, we're asking them to give us that information so we can also put it on their Facebook page. We also have one of our property manager admins monitoring all of our tenants' Facebook pages, so they're reposting as they see them posting. Just trying to get the word out there that our restaurants are still open for business, and ready to help them if they're looking for dining out options.
Sure, and as Mindy, I understand that you're 4.2 million, and you're all owner-owned and operated properties. In my property management business, I'm about 1.1 million square footage in industrial office, retail, medical office space, and then probably around 600 family units, whether they be single-family homes all the way up to multifamily properties. So we do have a wide range of properties that we deal with. In the solutions that we're offering to our tenants, the state of Alabama has been under a state of emergency, and Jefferson County, where we're located, has been under lockdown, in which we have locked down all of our non-essential services, and only our essential services are in play at this point in time. Now, recognizing essential services also includes restaurants, pharmacies, most of the grocery stores, etc. We are seeing some of those items that are not asking for rent waivers at this point in time. But the city of Birmingham has gone out and put out a website in which they're looking to generate help for those small businesses and any of the citizens in the city of Birmingham. It's called birminghamstrong.com. They're offering low interest, no interest loans up to $25,000 per small business, with a focus on paying payroll at that point in time, in which forgiveness of that debt would be provided for that part of the debt that actually went towards payroll. We've asked for the tenants and the residents to consider the legislation that's coming through Congress. I know we're on our third round of stimulus aid at this point in time. No telling what's going to come out of that today or tomorrow. Hopefully it will have some focus on property management and rent deference that we can fall back on. Those tenants that are asking us right now for waivers and deferments, we are telling them that we're waiting at this point until we see what the government package is when it comes out of Congress sometime this week, and then we'll make determinations at that point in time on whether or not we'll consider a waiver or a deferment in rent. So we're looking at all various types of solutions across the board. Some of that is based on the government aid package that is sitting in Congress right now. Mindy, I'll turn it back over to you.
Okay, and I would just echo that. We actually have staggered our communication with our tenants. So the first response is thank you, we're all in this together, that type of thing. And then giving them all the resources we could possibly give, including, like Chip said, the link to where they can directly send an email to their legislators, let them know that what situation that they're in. And then the other thing that we've done, that was the first response. The second response is that we get a little bit deeper into their situation, and also talk about the stimulus packages and how that we would like to wait. That is all in addition to the small mom and pops that just this morning that we made a decision that we would go ahead and help them with 1 month's rent as a deferment. And then the other thing I was trying to think of is it's called helpmainstreet.com, and it's a website it's a campaign that was started by small businesses this is not just restaurants but retail as well, and it shows if they're open, and then it also gives a customer the availability to buy gift cards to help them while they're closed if it's a retail establishment versus a restaurant establishment.
And Mindy, that's a good point. We're seeing that across the board here as well, especially on Facebook pages or social media that's popping up with Google documents indicating which restaurants are open, which restaurants are providing curbside. And in fact, I've seen some of our bars and restaurants in our portfolio that have put together a Google Doc that actually, when you click on it, picks up a random employee and goes to their Venmo or Cash apps where you can provide them a tip. And in fact, some of those items are asking specifically if you go out and you have a drink at home to click on the app and give a tip to a bartender someplace randomly. It's been interesting seeing some of these things come up as well.
No, yeah, I agree. It's overwhelming on both parts. It's overwhelming in the response that we're getting from our tenants in regards of the needs and their situations, but it's also in a good way overwhelming to see all of the little things that have come up to try to help the small business owners as well. Chip, I have a quick question for you. As you're looking at any deferment, are you considering a full deferment, in other words, rent and triple nets, or just the rent number?
We've considered full deferment. The tax and insurance side of it, or the CAM side of it, we've kind of wrapped into the total rent side. Mm-hmm. We haven't at this point in time considered just a base rent deferment. We have not really been asked by our tenants for that. It's either been a full deferment or it's been a rent waiver. We're leaning towards the deferment instead of the rent waiver simply because that's lost rents, and we do have mortgages that we have to pay on behalf of our clients. That's sure. An issue that we're finding ourselves caught in between. In fact, I had a client this morning that is an owner-occupied property, or majority owner-occupied. They called. They're an elective business in an optometrist, so they're considered elective, and therefore they were ordered to be closed. Well, they can't pay the rent, and the other owner is a periodontist, and they've also been ordered to close. So between those two tenants, that's 77% of our income on that property. I reached out to our mortgage provider this morning, and the mortgage provider turned around and said, nope, you're required to make your payments. We expect you to make your payments. Otherwise, we have a guarantor on your property. We're going to be looking at your guarantors to make those payments instead. So we're kind of caught between a rock and a hard place in that situation. And fortunately, on our end, on this particular client, we had already put away a significant amount of money for reserves, and so we're going to end up dipping into reserves. We can operate for 3 months without having rent come in at all on the building. So it sounds like we're going to have to trigger that emergency plan and move into the reserves in that particular issue. But we're seeing it happen across the board.
So we've found ourselves in this unique economic environment at the moment. What other advice would you give to managers in general?
Personally, I'd say take it on a case-by-case basis if you can. Each tenant will have a different issue that they're having to resolve, and it depends on how your ownership for that particular tenant needs to cover their mortgage or whatever their expenses are on that particular property. So I'd say be patient, take it on a case-by-case basis. There's a lot of pressure out there to try to make a decision quickly, but we have time. Most rent's not due until April 1st, which gives us another week to find out what's going on with the congressional aid package. And take some time when you make a big decision of this nature, and make sure that your clients are involved in your decision-making process. Make sure that you're transparent in your communication, and remember that we're all in this together.
Yeah, there's not too much I can add to that, because that's exactly what I was thinking. The only thing I would probably add from an admin side is just tracking every single conversation you have. We have a spreadsheet and that we're tracking first communication from the tenant, second communication, third communication, all in one spot. So the spreadsheet actually tracks the dates that those conversations came in, but we're keeping the follow-up, whether it be email or in a phone message, in like a second file, but the same folder on our computers, just so we can continue to track every single thing that's happening. It's moving so fast, and it's changing daily on what we can say to our tenants, what we can help our tenants. The other thing is that on a second spreadsheet from my side as the Director of Property Management, I'm tracking things like our cash flow on each center, our loan covenants on each center, our debt coverage ratio, all of that. So if we do give some sort of concession, how it affects all of that before actually giving it, so we can talk to our owners at the time and say, hey, this is what it's going to do to your cash flow, this is what it's going to do to your DCR. And also just the fact that a lot of our loan covenants, some of them don't give us the right to make changes or modify the lease without their permission. So we're tracking that as well.
It's a good point, Mindy, and I don't know how you're compensated in your company, but for those of us who are third-party property managers, this will impact our income stream as well. We're based on a percentage of the rent collected is how we make our income. And unfortunately, if people decide that they're not going to pay rent in April, for instance, then that will impact our ability to operate as a property management company as well. So, another issue is, in this advice side of it, is to make sure that you pay attention to your income stream, make sure you know where your income stream is coming from, and understand that if you are based on a percentage of rent collected, like I am, that you will potentially have a harder time making payroll yourself as a property management company next month. So there are some other items out there between an owner-operator versus a third-party manager as well.
Thank you once again, Mindy and Chip. It's really helpful to hear how your companies are handling what's going on in the industry right now. Please continue to check back at the IREM page dedicated to providing updates and resources to support real estate managers in making informed decisions during this time.